evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Artigas in Uruguay. As you can see, this is the northernmost department of Uruguay, and it borders Brazil up here and a little bitty border with Argentina. This department, to be honest, I did not find much about because it really seems to just be farmland and more farmland. It's a little hilly apparently, but not too much. Not terribly flat, but not like rocky or mountainous or anything. It's relatively swampy and dry, which is kind of like the norm for Uruguayan geography, to be honest. Wet but dry. I know that makes no sense. But it's, wet but dry enough for sustainable farmland. And the reasons that we have this kind of marshy kind of region is due to the rivers here. This is the Uruguay River, right here, flowing up. Or probably down, to be honest, into the Rio de la Plata. Does it go up or down? I actually don't know. That's a good question. South American viewers, let me know. Which way does the Rio de la Plata flow? Does it come up from the sea or does it flow down into the sea? I assume it flows down into the sea. I don't actually know. But we also have the Uruguay River making up this border here with Brazil. And it's along this river we have the city of Artigas, right smack on the border, and you can see the town of Uruguay in Brazil. For here, which I'm not sure how to pronounce it in Portuguese. Some of my Brazilian viewers have been helping me with pronunciation, and you have no idea how much I appreciate it. I've been practicing a little bit of my Portuguese, but as someone who has lived in a Spanish-speaking area of the world my whole life, it's very hard to break the, at least, like Mexican Spanish dialects and pronunciations and things. So thank you so much for helping me out. Please continue to do so. So I believe on the Brazilian side it's Uruguay, but in Uruguay it's pronounced Quarim, which is interesting. And for the most part, that's about it for geography. The main crop I read about here is maize, which is corn, basically. But I'm sure they grow other stuff. I just couldn't find a lot about it. What I did find about is this region's gemstone industry. In particular, amethysts are really abundant and really huge in this area, which is great because I think amethysts are so beautiful. But historically, I was trying to find more information about what indigenous peoples would have lived here, and I found nothing more other than there were indigenous peoples that lived here. So it's just take it at that value. That there were peoples that lived here. I assume they were chased out by the incoming Europeans, whether they were Spanish or Portuguese. But this region here was not terribly populated for a long, long time. Mainly because it was a buffer zone between Spain down here in the Rio de la Plata region and Portugal up there in the Brazil region. Just kind of nobody would settle that area so that there wouldn't be too many disputes, but you betcha there were disputes here. Around the, I want to say like the 1840s, 1850s, once the dust had settled here in Uruguay. I should probably tell you about that. Because after the Spanish were booted out of this area, this was part of Argentina. And this area pushed back against the government and rebelled, made themselves their own country. And then they had a big civil war after that to determine what exactly should be happening here politically. So it was once all the dust settled from all of that, like the 1840s, 1850s, did they start to establish the border here. And that's when they founded the city of Artigas. And Artigas is named after a hero from those times, Jose Gervais. I said that really wrong. Gervais? Artigas. Me and my pronunciation again. Apparently I can't even do Spanish anymore. But he fought against the Spanish in the first round of independence from Spain, and then he fought for independence from Argentina. He was apparently on the weird neutral side of the Civil War. Again, Uruguayans or any South Americans who know, feel free to contradict me. This is just what I read. And he was booted out the country, sent to Paraguay in exile. But still a very, very beloved figure in Uruguay. So they named the whole department and the city after him. Apparently there's lots of things named after him in Uruguay. Just the most prominent. It's like in America we have Washington, right? What is on my hand? I think it's Sharpie. Oh me. Okay, never mind. Ignore that. We have Washington in the US, right? We have a lot of places named after famous people. Like too many places named after the same person. And apparently that's how it is in Uruguay. Their area, however, is still in dispute with Brazil. Thankfully, it's never gone to like an all-out battle because there are many, many border wars in South America. Technically, there's one happening right now up in Venezuela and Guyana. It's not a war per se, but it could turn into that, so we gotta keep an eye on that. There's long, long, long been border wars in South America since South America gained independence from Spain and Portugal. And but anyway. But not so much in this area. There are lots of islands here in the river that Brazil and Uruguay claim, but this area is not much to fight a war over, so it's just kind of whatever. I don't think either side really cares too much to really assert themselves. So that is how it is today. There's not much to show you on Google Earth in this area. Not a lot of pictures at all, but I will show you what I have found. So let's head over to the tablet. Alright, I can't really get Google Earth to highlight the whole department, but you can see the borders here. It only highlights the town, or the city, I suppose. But let me zoom out so you can see exactly where in the world. If you're not quite sure where Uruguay is located, that's okay. It's a tiny country in a big continent. Here is South America. Brazil up here, Argentina down here, and right in the middle is Uruguay. Right there. Right up here we have Artigas. So if we take a look at the town, I think if I just zoom in, oh yeah, and here you can see where the river splits between Uruguay and Brazil. Here's the Brazilian side, and there's a bridge connecting them. So you can go back and forth. And I talked about this before with Paraguay, with their borders with Brazil. Apparently it's like no big. I think a Brazilian commented, shout out to you, like a couple weeks ago on that video, like, yeah, we cross over all the time. And apparently that's how it is here. The people just go back and forth, and it's not a big deal. It's not like it's an aggressive check your passport, stop every car. It's whatever. It's not anything. Look how incredibly planned out the city is. The blocks are all so perfectly arranged. These little squares, probably very easy to get around. Very hard to get lost. So here we have oh, this isn't what I was looking for, but this is also important. commemorating one of the battles here. There's Uruguay's flag. A bus. Looks like it's a bus that goes between Uruguay and Brazil. That's handy. Oh, pretty at night. Really pretty. But yeah, commemorating a battle here. Actually, this might be easier. There we go. Let's pull this up. Oh no, it's right there. Plaza Artigas. I'll show you that in a second. This is the plaza I wanted to show you first, because this is where the guy is. There's Jose Artigas there on his horse. And here people come and take their pictures here because it's an important part of the town. There's the little church, of course. And there he is. I was reading when he knew he was dying, he asked, he asked to be put in his saddle so he could die like a gaucho. Which is pretty badass, to be honest. What a way to go. A big party float here. I wonder if that's for, I guess, Carnival, right? I know Uruguay is a pretty secular country, but that doesn't mean they can't have big festivals and stuff. And Christmassy stuff, right? So if I go here, this is where you can see. Probably going to show you a lot. That really beautiful church there. And then that war memorial again. Artigas. There he is. Another really cool monument, but I wasn't able to find this one. It looks really neat. It looks like a geode, right? Which is great because that's what the department's known for. It's for precious stones. So this looks like a big castle. The big tower there. I'm sure that's like a government building. Isn't it nice? And all the flags there, so you can see Brazil, Uruguay, and I assume that's Argentina. But a nice little house out there in the outskirts. But yeah, I was not able to find much more. Let's see if... Yep, it is. There's cows. Uruguay, apparently big beef eaters, like even more so than like Brazil and Argentina, if you can believe that. So this farmland is obviously very important. But you can see what I mean, it's very wet. Like if you zoom out, it's all swampy green. When you zoom in, you can see it's not really that. It's just very green with lots of water. It's a very wet place. Let's see if any little towns here. A couple towns had slideshows. Diego Lamas. I think this one did. Yep. That looks like rice to me. Or something, little seedlings of something. Look at the beautiful sky over this. Maybe an old mission or church or something there. Big tractors, irrigation. Oh, he's getting squished. Be careful. But yeah, it's farm country. Very lush. Big sky country. I guess it would be like the Wyoming of Uruguay, right? Just nice little farmland. Nothing too much going on here. So I think I'm going to end it there. Let's maybe find one more slideshow to close it out. La Bolsa. Sounds nice. Ooh, that's cool. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this style of content, please consider subscribing. Next in this series, we're going to the Netherlands, but we're going to a part of the Netherlands you would not expect. Look at the geodes. I'm glad I clicked on this one. It's a mine. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I should say we're not going to the Netherlands per se, but the Netherlands nonetheless. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good